They've buried the truth about our food. It's a total collapse of trust. Let's break it down.
They suppressed the data for 16 years. 2 other large studies failed to show an association. Finally, the study trickled out in the medical literature. Nobody noticed it. Those on the low-fat group had higher rates of heart attacks. Why? Maybe because when you avoid fat, you have to pound food with carbohydrates and often ultra-processed carbohydrates stripped of fiber and chopped up. It functions like sugar. We created a generation of children with low protein, high carbohydrates, sugar addiction, and burdened with ultra-processed foods. And what did we do as a medical field? Drugged them at scale. Those days are over. We are telling people the truth about food.
For nearly 20 years, there's been a heavy shadow hanging over your kitchen. And you probably felt it every time you looked at the skyrocketing rates of disease in this country. Now, FDA Commissioner Marty Makary is finally stepping into the light. He's pulling back the curtain on a massive breakdown that's haunted our nation for generations. Think about this. The very agency we pay to protect us reportedly sat on critical data for 16 years. 16 years. They had the proof that those high-carb, low-fat mandates weren't saving lives. Instead, they were likely the very thing fueling the health crisis we're drowning in right now. They buried the evidence in the back of some dusty archive just to protect a story that kept the powerful in power. But today, that story is dead. Makary isn't just pointing out a typo. He's exposing a flat-out effort to keep you in the dark while you got sicker. You see the results every time you walk into a hospital or a pharmacy. It's a moment of total reckoning. The truth is finally crawling out from behind that wall of bureaucratic silence, and we're never going to look at these authorities who dictate our survival the same way again. This isn't just a policy shift, it's an earthquake. He's been shouting into the wind for years, and now Robert F. Kennedy, Jr. is finally getting his hands on the levers of power. This alliance with the new administration, it's a direct challenge to the status quo. The mission is dead simple. Tear out the influence of the ultra-processed food giants that have been rotting our federal programs from the inside out. Kennedy isn't playing nice. He's declared a war of words against added sugars. He's calling them exactly what they are, a catalyst for the total wrecking of our collective health. He's making the case that our kids have been treated like lab rats in a massive, decades-long experiment, one that's changed the very shape of the American physique. This isn't just some boring policy debate in a D.C. basement anymore. It's a movement to take our lives back. When they talk about banning certain additives, they aren't just adding rules. They're ripping apart a machine that cared more about how long a box of crackers sits on a shelf than how long you actually live. We're watching the end of an era where we were conditioned to stay sick. It's over. And believe me, the fight for our health, it's only just started. We've got to ask the hard question that nobody in Washington wants to answer. Who actually got rich off this silence? For decades, the explosion of chronic illness hasn't been a tragedy for everyone. It's been a gold mine for a multi-billion-dollar industry. When the government pushed carbs over healthy fats, they weren't just giving bad advice. They were building a predictable, guaranteed pipeline of lifelong patients. Our failing health became the very foundation of a massive pharmaceutical empire. Critics are finally saying it out loud. The FDA didn't just miss the mark. They essentially prepped the American public for a lifetime of doctor visits and pills. People are angry, and you can feel that shift everywhere.
They're realizing they were walked straight into a trap designed to keep them in a state of decline. The evidence is staring us in the face. Our health was traded away to keep corporate balance sheets stable. But the tide is finally turning.
People are fed up with the engineered junk, and they're demanding the truth. They want a government that actually protects the citizen for once. This investigation is only the tip of the iceberg, and what comes next is going to rock these institutions to their core. The truth took its time getting here, but it's finally loud enough to drown out the lies of the past.
Ending.
This report is complete, but the fight is just beginning. Subscribe now to stand with us.